kids, Hillary and James and Morgan, my children. Um, I've never been through anything like this in my life. Having children, that was new. Having 3 dogs, that's new. I never had horses, that was new. A husband, that was new. And I did try to stay in love, but when they're lying and drinking, I love him, but I can't be with him. So, I do love your dad. I do. He's got his really good qualities. So does James. James is a sweetheart, a good soul, smart, good musician, but just like his dad, he cannot drink. Just can't happen. I was so scared you're going to end up on the street begging for money as an alcoholic. And if you make that choice, there's nothing I can do except for I tried to change the law. If somebody's a danger to themselves with drugs or alcohol, a person can call and get you confined in a rehab because you're not able to make a good decision. Like once you're on it, you're on it. You can't even hardly get off. Very few people do. It's that kind of chemical reaction that opiates and alcohol have on some people. So I don't want that to be a problem. I want that to be fixed, and I will do anything in my power to help, and that's the only place I am is I don't know what to do. I mean, I will take you to therapy. I will get your Medicaid card, and you can get your Chantix. I mean, I can't do what you don't want me to do. You want to do it yourself, and that's fine. You're a 20-year-old, and I mean, I was on my dad's health insurance until I was 21, so, my dad wasn't an alcoholic. He didn't lose his job because he was drinking. So that's really sad. I meet a lot of people that have never been in counseling. I don't think Hillary has, but I know a lot of people think I'm a really terrible mother because I have bipolar. People say she's cray-cray. I'm so thankful to have my good friends that take the time to get to know me. I just met an artist at the laundromat, and I was able to express myself. She didn't care if I got emotional and said things that were, bizarre or whatever. She was very cool with it. I was doing some governmental work with the mayor about the slacking in on the black neighborhoods, and she's young, but her name's Claire, and I said, there's just so few people I can be really open and honest with, because I think Morgan said to me that, Carol has her issues. I'm sorry I was a little challenging. I didn't know where her boundaries lie. She wants to put on a good party and have everyone have a really nice time. And, there's just certain people that don't really get along, whether we love each other or like each other. It's just different experiences and stuff. I've had unusual experiences, and I usually get along pretty good with good artists and musicians. And they get me a little bit more. All the allegations of abuse, and then the protection of Jerry for beating the shit out of James. I'm like, he did the same thing to me, strangled me. I talked to Reagan. Reagan said James strangled her. I'm like, seems like a Minogue thing, kind of Irish, you're going to strangle. But you're mean. You're mean drunks. It's not that you're really super nice. You're stupid. You can't concentrate. If you do it once a year at New Year's, that's one thing, but when you're doing it on a weekend basis, that's not okay. Do you see that's going to make you really sick and unhealthy? So I hope Joe's helping you, and AA can help you. My friend Wes went through the problem. He got homeless and was on drugs and alcohol and got himself clean. It's not the only one to have the problem, It's just that I tried to get your dad to do those things, but he just refused, and he had an income. He would go to work and make money, and it wasn't like he was homeless until he was, and then when he was, I got him in a place that would help him, but it wasn't until he kind of lost his mind from cirrhosis that I could do anything. I tried taking him to counseling, but addicts can be really selfish, and when I think of him losing the farm and the horses and our family, and I was playing the wife role as best I could, and the stress over the years was very difficult of not being able to trust him. Just his thinking process. because of the alcohol, and then his inability to have boundaries. Because, when you're drinking, your boundaries change. You don't really have as many. And then when you're straight, it gets all confused because it's like, well, it's a boundary now, but it wasn't then. So then it just might as well not be a boundary. And I got Day Goodwin in California, and Colette called me, and she wants help with him. So I just ended up calling Alex at the museum, and I said, Day is really sick, but he pulls it together, and people can't see that he's so sick. And a lot of people do that, like Dad, and I don't know about Jennifer, but I know my dad has probably bipolar too, and he'll pull it together for a family gathering, but it's hard for him to hold it. He's got to get away and be by himself. The medicine helps me a lot. At least I faced it and I deal with it as best I can. And you should be proud of me for that. I'm not running from it with drugs or marijuana or heroin or alcohol. Because a lot of people with mental illness do that. They do. They don't want to admit they have it. So, I'll just smoke some pot. I've got friends that do that. If any of you have chemical imbalances, I know how the world is. They treat you terribly. They treat you like you're crazy, like you don't belong. And I'm working on that. I know that I've been working on developing a movie kind of about it and stuff like that. And I know that sounds extremely bizarrely, absurdly wonderful, but believe it or not, sometimes artists make it. It may take a long time, and there's many artists that didn't make it until their older years. Cezanne, Bothes. Van Gogh didn't make it at all. Nobody could see the beauty in his work until he'd killed himself. If he'd hung out and not killed himself for another 10 years, he was relying on money from his brother Theo, and Theo's wife got pregnant. And so Theo's wife wrote Van Gogh a letter and said, we can't support you anymore. So Van Gogh killed himself because he couldn't do anything. And that's kind of how my family is with me. They don't understand art. They don't like modern art. Too much, there's modern pieces I like better than others. Some I really am attracted to. And I had a really nice time in New York City with Morgan, and she put up with the purple dogs. But you got to kind of think about celebrity families and how that's going to be when the public gets word of what's going on. And you may think I'm grandiose delusion, but I'm not kidding. There's going to be some astounding changes in the next couple years, and I want us to be together. I don't want Morgan to be all mad at me because she's rebellious, because she's 18. I was just trying to protect her with her camera. I knew something was not right. I'm a mom. I have this, something not right. And, with your back tattoo, I'm like, something's not right. You're being rebel a different way. You're rebellious with your hair. You don't have to be rebellious. The thing is with me is I'm so open-minded. I do draw the line at alcohol and drugs and permanent skin markings that I know you're going to dislike. I don't mind that little beetle tattoo. I think it's pretty apt. The Wittgenstein beetle in the box, and a priori, you didn't even know you were doing it so perfect. That was a lot of suffering you went through to do that to your body. And I didn't really realize it, but a lot of it was my fault because I was so mad at your dad because I was worried about James. And then after you left me, I just had to go to the city where I could be around people. I couldn't stay out in Chesterfield and watch what was going on because I had no control. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't afford an expensive lawyer. I went to court and I said, I don't think this is right. And they said, well, the kids want to stay with the dad. And I'm not saying your dad doesn't love you, but I am saying that when Alan is on heroin or your dad is on alcohol, they do not behave correctly. And it's not appropriate to express your feelings with such anger that you punch holes in walls, that you don't have food, but you have alcohol. $32,000 in debt. That's a lot of partying. I'm glad you didn't die. So that's going to be some kind of realization of normalcy that you're going to have to learn to do. And I would maybe talk to Hillary as an example, because I know you don't want me to be an example. But talk to your family, talk to your friends, what's appropriate partying, what's not appropriate. You can try drinking again, James, in a few, and see if you can hold it down to one beer. That's what my dad drinks, one beer. But that little one beer might set you off on a binge, and you could be like your dad and drink 8. That's horrible. I'm sitting in the room with a baby, you, a year and a half, and Hillary's 5, and your dad's sitting there watching TV drinking 8 beers. That is not the life I want. And I'm pregnant with Morgan. And I'm not saying your dad's a bad person or his family's bad, and he's smart and he was rebellious. And it's just simply an alcoholic problem. And I talk to him now. I'm kind of over some of the scared anger, like being really scared for y'all. In fact, it was so bad that I tried to kill myself. I mean, I was like, I have no kids, I have no control of them, I have nobody, I was on the wrong medicine too. I wasn't on lithium. But then I got away from Alan and y'all, and y'all didn't want me to go live in California. And James was the same way when Morgan and he was, oh no. So even though you want to be mean to me, you want me to be around to help you maybe if you need help. And I don't think it's appropriate to be mean to me, because I really don't try to be mean to you. I mean, I know when you were little, I used to spank you a little. There was no real serious abuse issues. If there were, there would have been Child Protective Services called in. Okay? I wasn't perfect. I fucked up. I should never hit anybody. I think I just had a little bit more than I could handle. 3 kids and a drunk husband, and horses and dogs. And I mean, I remember your 4-H group came over, and I was drinking too, because I was having to deal with it. The only way I could deal with it was just to join in, kind of. But I much would have rather had a husband I could talk to and be sober. But it's tough when he's drinking. And it's mainly just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But that's a lot of family time, because he's gone a lot during the week when he traveled or he went to the office. So, that's not developing a healthy relationship with someone when you're drunk. It's not going to bring fulfillment in any way. I'll go out socially now and have it tastes good, but I have 1 glass of wine or 1 shot of whiskey, just a little neat whiskey or something like that. Because I'm at a bar. When I go hear James' music, I kind of want to support the bar too. I don't want to just go there and stand and enjoy the music and not support the bar or the restaurant. I guess I could get a Coke, but that might make it look like I was an alcoholic. So one thing I wanted to look like, I can have 1 drink and walk out. I'm that kind of person. I didn't want people to think that if I got a Diet Coke, which would have just been as good, honestly. But I wanted the public to see that alcohol is a problem, but not so much with the mother. But we're going to have a Merry Christmas. But you guys work on yourself. If you need counseling, I can hook you up. If you want me to... See, I'm subjective. You look pretty.
I don't like you, but you can have that.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to mail this to y'all, and we'll talk about what we want to do. I think the money's going to get better, so that stress will be gone. But there will be the public eye, too.